onto our YouTube channel. It should be the live. Now I'm getting notifications from Twitch, so I know it's going to at least Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
So if you click on that live, so I know it's going to at least Twitch. Oh, maybe you just had to click on it. So if you click on that live. Oh my gosh, we are live, and it actually sounds pretty good. Do a quick mic test on your side. Click on it.
Do I what?
I just want to hear your audio real quick to make sure it's good.
Yeah.
We are live, and it actually sounds pretty good. Do a quick mic test on your side. Do I what? Yep, cool. Hear your audio real quick to make sure it's good. Yeah. We are live, and it actually sounds pretty good.
Awesome.
Okay, so we are in fact live. We are on our way to SCG Con in Pittsburgh. Sorry for the technical difficulties as we get started on our 2-hour journey. So my name is TJ Houston. This is my pal Tony, as he's posting out the link onto our Discord channel, and we are the guys behind Ohio Eternal. So a little while ago, actually, I don't know, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I don't even know when it was, I ran into Tony, met Tony, and we both had, he was talking to me about like all these like Eternal formats, and at that time I'm like, why would I buy 4 copies of a card when I'm going to buy only 1 copy for Commander? And like I was over here trying to make, Commander super competitive, and then I went down like that CEDH rabbit hole, and it just wasn't like, it wasn't what I was looking for. Like I was still like wanting that back and forth. And I played Flesh and Blood for a bit, and I really liked that, that density of the format, the density of cards you have access to. Like, so my mind started changing a little bit to, I want 4 of those, not just 1 of those. And as I was talking to Tony, ran into each other more and more, we quickly found that we had a lot of things in common. Number one, that limited format, that restricted, smaller number of cards, the way the Eternal formats are now, as in Vintage, Legacy, Modern, and some of the other ones that have come out. But also we really like beer. Huge fans of beer, and just that environment where you can go get good food, good beer, and play some Magic. And that's where, as we started talking, that's where Ohio Eternal kind of came from, was, nothing against the card shops, but when I'm playing, like I just would like to have a beer there. I would like to, eat some delicious food and play some Magic and not be necessarily inside of a card shop. So we've started kind of getting the word out there for, doing those type of events. Again, more local events to the Mid-Ohio area in a more regular fashion. So, every couple weeks meeting up at the brewery and, meeting some new people that love old cards, make new friends, and drink good beer. That is kind of our call to action, if you will. So as we are on our trip, we had a couple things. Tony made a list of a couple topics to kind of discuss on the way out and kind of talk through some things. And I am very new to these formats, being Vintage, Modern, and Legacy. And Tony's been grinding these for quite a while, and plays exponentially more than I do. So it's kind of cool that I have the knowledge of Tony, like when it comes to card choice and stuff like that, and you guys get to go along kind of with me if you're new to these formats, and kind of learn along with me, which I think is a pretty cool experience. We can learn together and learn most about some of the coolest formats in Magic.
Yeah, and I mean, just, talk about some of the things that are currently going on, especially, new sets just came out.
Yeah.
And now we have, another set dropping this weekend, which there is a card or 2 that I'm interested in.
Same. That's why I was just talking to him. There are a couple from Ixalan, but even from, because we kind of got 2 because we have this holiday thing going on with Lord of the Rings. So that Legolas, that split second, I was telling him, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be brewing Legacy Infect, and it might be finished this weekend. Like, That just seems like a fun deck. It's not really in the meta right now. It's fallen out of the meta quite a bit.
Oh, but that Legolas is a phenomenal card. I guess
everything.
We should actually call it what it is. It's Legolas's what?
Legolas's Arrows or Legolas's Last Stand?
Last Stand.
Maybe.
Is that sounds right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's Tavar's Last Stand, I think is what it's called.
Oh.
So they're two different. So, again, I off the top of my head, I don't have it. The plan was to have, like, a computer hooked up and, like, be able to, like, pull cards. And that's coming, okay? It's coming. Maybe on the way home, even. We'll up our production value. Our goal is just to, like, get a minimum viable product and then just keep making it better and better. So we have that coming out. We have Ixalan, which I think we're going to try to do the box two-headed giant, right?
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
So just talk through, some of those cards that are coming out. I'm a huge Dinos fan in the Commander format. I teach full-time high schoolers, and they love playing my Dino deck. So I'm excited to have that updated a little bit for some cool new cards. But this new, so you play in Modern, you play Rhinos, right? So cascading Rhinos. So
yeah, that's what I have with me right now.
Sure. So now this new mechanic that's come out. So basically before, let's say your deck wasn't tuned to do exactly what it's supposed to do. So once you get into these more competitive formats, like Cascading Commander is like, woohoo, let's see what we can find. Whereas Cascade in a more competitive format is you're going to get your Trampley Rhinos out, right? So now, as far as this new mechanic that's come out, it's Cascade, but if you hit something, like let's say you would have hit a counter spell when your deck wasn't tuned, like there's really no target for that. There's not really, it kind of falls flat. That Cascade kind of dies.
Right.
Where it seems now with this new, the way I'm understanding this new mechanic, you Cascade, but if you have that, you can either play it or put it in your hand. So do you think that's better for like specific to Rhinos or Cascade decks? Or do you think it opens up more possibility for design change? Like, what are your thoughts on this newer mechanic that's come out? He's deep in reading.
So, yeah. So, I think that, as far as Modern goes, I don't even think like Rhinos is like even in the topic anymore. Really,
there's
to be
pretty
honest.
much one topic in Modern right now.
Yeah.
But if those cards ever get banned, then it comes back into favor.
I think the big question is in Modern. Modern right now is so polarized. Did you look at the meta share for like any other format and then Modern? Modern has a 25% meta share for a single deck.
Right. I
don't want to talk about Modern. Like Modern is scam and scam alone.
Which is weird because like after the Columbus SCG Con and then a couple other events, I felt like Hammer was like doing well.
But Hammer was doing great.
So that's just because so many are playing and they're getting in top 8s or they're reporting top 16s. That's contributing to that meta share piece. But if this weekend, how many of these decks do you think are playing Scam this weekend in the main event?
In Modern? Yeah. I every single round that I played, I would expect to play against Scam.
Even worse than...
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Because, so like, all right. You know Hogak. You've played a little...
Oh, yeah.
So like, a part of this journey, I've played a lot of different formats. TJ has not.
Right.
So I was like, all right, TJ, let's take a little magical roller coaster ride. And we decided to, put like some like proxy vintage decks, proxy legacy decks, and just like jam the games, right? Like so that he can physically like see and like feel some of these cards. And to be honest, it was like, all right, this is very enlightening. This is like cool. Because there's cards he's never heard of before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, no. Like, this, you play 4 of this card. Like, it's that good, right?
And I'm just like, wait, that really does it how Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly how this works.
We played some vintage. And so, Hogak. Right. So, there was a combo Hogak deck in Modern. And I think at one point it had like over 27 or 28 like meta percent share, and it had, I think, more than that at a single tournament event, which is what really just like destroyed the thing. So anyways, getting ready to go to that tournament with Hogak, it didn't even matter what you were playing. You had to have 4 Leyline of the Voids in your main deck.
Yep.
It was that oppressive. Like, you will just die if you do not have a Leyline of Void in play. Just always turn 0.
Right.
So I feel like Scam and Modern is very similar to that. Not as egregious, because Scam is more fair, right? But in order to scam a creature, you have to have a graveyard. So I think in the same context, like, I would just have 4 Leyline of the Voids in my main deck.
So if they were to like ban something that's in that Scam architecture, like what would be the ban
in Scam?
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, the Scam cards probably. I mean,
like, are they going to be getting rid of Grief? Are they going to be? I mean, those are big bans. I mean, I don't feel like the Fable's really doing anything. Like,
I don't know. I'm not like one like for like super bannability, because like they've banned cards that I don't think they needed to ban, and there are way cards now they can unban. It wouldn't be a big deal,
right?
Like, do you think that cards like Deathrite Shaman still deserve to be banned in Legacy?
No. Like, I really don't think it's that good of a card, like, compared to what we have now and the power creep that we've had.
Yeah. I mean, you have Delighted Halfling now that makes something uncounterable.
Right.
Uncounterability is ridiculous, other than a bird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a bird that can. I mean, Deathrite Shaman can win you the game. I'm not going to discredit that, because I've played with Deathrite Shaman, and I've definitely killed people with Deathrite Shaman alone. So, but you have like Elvish Reclaimers now. You have, like, you still have like a million Delighted Halfling. You have all the Hierarchs. Like, any deck that truly wants to play like Deathrite Shaman is like Elves.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's okay. So no, all right. I got a couple.
What's our next topic? What do we got?
So, so we kind of already talked about like the opening and everything. I want to talk about the Legacy metagame.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of really good points and research that I've done talking about this, because like that's what this is about, right? It's Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what this whole thing's about.
I think we missed our exit.
So we did. That's all right. It's all right.
We're just gonna try to still make this.
Oh, we're going all the way over. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Full unhinged.
Nothing to see here. Just keep going. I hope this doesn't like spit us back the other way. This is the right one, right? 76. Cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so the metagame.
Yes.
The Legacy metagame. I have a lot of data, and I want to talk to you about like I know what you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about what you think about, some of these meta share percentages, and if you're anticipating these decks, right?
Sure.
Like, to see if you're like, oh, well, I've never heard of that one before.
So this weekend I am playing a little bit of 8-cast, with a little bit of spice in there. So I guess my biggest thing is like with the metagame the way it is. So right now, what should people be expecting as far as like what decks we're gonna see? Like, I feel like Delver is still definitely there. Probably Reanimate or some type of scamish fun festivities. Obviously 8-cast. I've started to see more and more Helm decks out there, and super fun deck to play if you have not played the combo Leyline of the Void, Beseech the Mirror, Helm. Like, it's such a fun deck that can go in many different ways. So I'm expecting to see that. Storm, for sure. Well, Epic Storm or Beseech the Storm. I have a feeling that those are going to be out there. What are some other ones that are in the top kind of meta for going into this weekend?
So a lot of the meta decks that are online are obviously a little bit different than what I think is going to be here, but I have a list for that too.
Sure.
So this is primarily what I anticipate for the paper metagame to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at, like, basically, I break it up into 3 groups. I have aggro, combo, and control. So I'm anticipating that in the aggro group, which is going to be almost 50% of what we see, that's where you get like your Delver decks, your Initiative Stompy decks, Death and Taxes, and Artifacts.
Wow.
So, like, this is where I'm going to say some sort of Grixis Delver, Scam, Artifacts, and Initiative. Those are the decks I'm planning on being in the aggro group. And then, like, control, I anticipate there would be, like, a lot of, like, the 4-color soup things, like, with 4th Aerlingus.
Yep.
And
control.
Yeah, like some, like, Beanstalks, you know, like, there will be those decks. And then, you know, maybe some lands. Like, I always think, like, you get, like, a couple of lands decks that are good. And then, like, combo, I think you're going to see about 30% of that, and that's going to be, like, Reanimator and, like, random Rakdos Painter decks, and Show and Tell.
Yep, Show and Tell, gotta love it. So what, I mean, going into this weekend, depending on, you know, in my head, I'm thinking about, you know, what I'm going to be pulling in as far as for some of these matchups. So, and Storm. I assume Storm is going to be, you know, some level of that. So I guess what am I looking at bringing in? What am I looking at? Like, what is my goal against, like, the aggro decks that are in the format? Like, what am I up against? Like, me playing 8-cast. What is my win con there?
Well, I mean, I definitely think, like, against any deck that is playing 1-mana spells, you want Chalice of the Voids.
Yeah. Chalice on 1.
Yeah. I think those are good places to start. And then
I feel like just racing at that point, like with the deck that I'm on, just racing that aggro and trying to build that board state before they can. Because I don't really have, like, great removal per se, other than Otawara, but
no, but, like, Kappa Cannoneer or Urza Sagas will win you that game.
Right. That's why I think it's just a matter of making
big Urza Sagas tokens with Shadow Spears are scary. I promise you that.
Yes.
I promise you that.
100%.
If there is, if there's one card that I know extensively about, it is Urza Saga.
So good. So yeah, I'm looking to just kind of race those decks and kind of tax them a little bit with their chalices, or with my chalices, to hopefully, you know, slow them down so they can't get out ahead. Sideboarding in. So run through what were the top aggro decks again for the paper.
You're going to see Delver, Initiative, and, like, the blue-black decks, right?
Yep.
And then I also think you'll probably see some A-Cast just because Chalice of the Void. Chalice of the Void and Ancient Tomb and Urza Sagas are good enough.
Yep.
Right? You're playing some sort of prison-y deck with Force of Wills, like, yeah, Artifacts is good.
So, as far as the some of those other aggro decks that you had said, what are you, if you're designing a deck, like, what do you have in your sideboard to bring in against those?
If I'm playing A-Cast?
Any deck. I mean, so what is the plan to stop them or slow them down?
Well, I don't think that's the question.
What is the question?
How do you want to play against the match, right? Like, I don't know. And that can be, like, in a more depth, like, because, like, we could do another video about, like, in-depth, like, sideboarding and, like,
sure.
Because I think that sideboarding is very underrated. And the reason that I say underrated is because people are like, okay, well, I have 4 of this. I'm going to bring 4 of this in, and I'm going to take out 3 of those. But they don't understand, like, the complexity of the role they're trying to establish in the match. I can open a hand, like no bullshit. I will open a hand, and if I'm on a mulligan, I will absolutely put a sideboard card on the bottom of my deck. No, without a question. If my hand is just better without it, like, even if it's a sideboard card and it makes my deck better, yeah, like, if I can't cast it, or if, like, just because it's a sideboard card, I won't keep it. Like, I'll just keep a better hand, right? So I think that that's a very important aspect of understanding how to sideboard. And
one thing that you've been coaching me on, like you had mentioned too, is how do you want the game to play out? Like, what is the perfect...
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
What does that need to look like? So not necessarily the question isn't what do you do to slow them down? It is how do you want the game to progress? How do you want the game to end?
Right.
And, like, that's that. Just, it's a little different way to look at it, where you're focused on, turn by turn, like, how you want this game to play out. What is best case scenario? And then how do we get to that best case scenario?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, understanding your roles and laws. I mean, I think a little bit. So, like, I mean, of course, my big mission on coming out here to Pittsburgh is unlimited Tigers.
Woo!
That's the goal. I have a Beta Forest in my deck right now, but if I got unlimited Tigers, I have an unlimited Forest with me too. So then because all of my lands would just be unlimited, right?
No foils. Hashtag
no foil. No, absolutely not. No. I've had all foil decks, and they're not my game. They're pretty, especially like mine was all original foil too.
True that.
Like, it was egregiously expensive, but it was so good. Yeah. So, all right. Moving on to the next topic that I have. So there's a couple of decks that I think are, like, that I'm highlighting as far as, like, I think are going to be doing well. I think Initiative is going to be doing well.
Now, when you say Initiative, do you mean the Boros Initiative?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4/4 Aerlingus.
Yeah.
Yeah. That card is just way too powerful. Like, and Archon. Archon is so underrated. Like, a turn 1 Archon ends the game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, turn 1 Magus of the Moon ends the game. But, like, just getting the initiative turn 1 is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially if you can't steal it back. Even if you can kill their creature, if you can't steal it back.
Yep.
And they are also a Chalice deck. So they also play lots of ways to play Chalice of the Void on turn 1. So that's always something that I look at.
And that's a relatively newer build, isn't it?
The board, well, yeah. So it was mono white.
Right.
And it was a nightmare because they could get the initiative on So the deck was more consistent at gaining the initiative. And once it had the initiative, it would keep the initiative.
Because it was running both of the initiative getters, right?
Right, but one is 3 mana, right?
Right, but one got banned, right?
3 mana, one got banned.
Yeah.
And the reason that the 3 mana one got banned is because he was able to gain you the initiative and be a 5/5 and do that for 3 mana. So then when your other one costed 4 mana, it would just move you through the initiative faster. And then you have other guy, so it curved out really well. Because you could go turn 1 initiative every game. Turn 2, skip the initiative, and then, they go to 10. And then on your next one, you're like, draw a card, beat you in the face. Like, the game's over. Play another initiative creature.
Right.
So...
That's what I have in Vintage, and it's pretty fun. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. I mean, I love initiative. Like, for Vintage, absolutely.
And what's cool is, that was a newer mechanic.
At the time.
That was when it went to the top. And it'll be interesting to see, that's why I always thought that, these formats were just, a bunch of old cards and winning on turn 1. And what I've learned is, no, you get to play all of the best cards. It's not just the old stuff, it's the new stuff can create some cool brewing and design choices that can make for some pretty awesome decks. So it'll be interesting. I don't know if Ixalan is that one, but it'll be cool to see, what does come out of Ixalan and the other ones that'll be...
Well, right. So there is one card in Ixalan that I want to talk about, and I screenshotted it.
Ooh.
It's that. So it's the black-red one, Molten Collapse.
Okay.
So it's a Rakdos. It's black and a red.
Okay.
So 2 mana. It's a sorcery, so you can Burning Wish for it. And it says, choose one. If you descended this turn, you choose both instead. Descended is if a permanent card was put into your graveyard from anywhere. Mm-hmm. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with a mana value 1 or less.
So why are you hot on this card?
Because it's a black and a red. So it gets around a Chalice on 1.
Okay.
It can just actually cleanly blow up like Chalice of the Voids. Explorations, Mock Simons, Deafening Silence. If you descend, you can kill a creature and an Aether Vial.
Okay. With the descend piece, so either way you get 1, right? Isn't that how that card reads? You don't have to descend to do 1.
Right? Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah, it's 2 mana, blow up something 1 or less, or destroy creature or planeswalker.
But if you descend, you get both.
Right.
Okay. That seems pretty solid.
Yeah, I think
Rakdos definitely is weak in all the formats, and they definitely need more.
Well, yeah. Rakdos has a hard time killing enchantments. So, I mean, to be able to,
Let's just give them more tools for the toolbox.
Yeah. I mean, you want to know what's nice about this, though? Molten Collapse. It does not kill Sphere of Resistance. Sphere of Resistance is a really good card.
Right. Because Sphere is what, 2?
Right.
Wah, wah, wah. What other cards are good for Ixalan? Did you pull up any other ones that looked pretty fancy?
No.
That's the only one that you care about.
No. Yeah, that was the only one that I was like, that card's probably going to see play in more than one. I mean, it's a nice tool to have for like Legacy Storm, right?
Oh no.
It's
Good. So what other topics did you have to chat about? Because we do have, so we will be talking about at some point, once we finish ironing out the details, we have some calls to make after we end the live stream today. But in January, we are hosting a legacy, it's an eternal, I guess, tournament.
Yeah.
In that we have if you haven't heard about $30 Vintage, they're going to be there with a bunch of decks to play, doing like a side event for them. Legacy is going to be the main event, 100% proxy friendly, and it's going to be in Millersburg, Ohio. So keep an eye out on the socials for that. It'll be over on our website as well at ohioeternal.com. And again, registration, the plan is for registration to open today for early bird registration. So you will get a discount off of your entrance into that. And the purpose of the event is just kind of our motto, and that is old cards, good beer, new friends. And just come hang out with us, eat some good food, drink some good beer, meet some new people, and play some of the best cards in Magic the Gathering history.
Yeah, and top 8 is like duels and like other good stuff,
swag.
Yeah, some cash. So just everything. We
want to make it worth your while,
right?
To come out and join us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point of it.
So I'm trying to think. We're going to pause the live stream for just a moment while I'll keep up the directions. I just want to make sure we're going the right way here.
Yeah, just 76.
I thought it was jog up to 77 to hit 76 again. Am I crazy? 224. Yeah. So it's the 77 north 4B. Yeah. Because we have to jog up to hit 76 to go out. Because that other exit or other entrance was closed. Sorry, just want to make sure that we get there and we're not just randomly driving and then it's like, oh, the Atlantic Ocean's here. We've been talking for 3 hours, 4 hours.
Right.
So yeah, we're pretty excited for the tournament. We will also have a plethora of vintage decks there for you to play. So if you've always wanted to play a deck that has Black Lotus, Power 9, all that fun stuff, earlier we were talking about Hogak Vines and Mono White Initiative, we're going to have the top meta decks in in Vintage for you to play. And like I said, $30 Vintage has a crew coming up. We'll have a bunch of $30 Vintage decks for people to play as well. Because if you get knocked out of the tournament, we still want you to, get your money's worth with, the side events and stuff like that. And in the morning, we're going to have a little flea market thing before we get started. So if you do want to trade and sell and do all that fun stuff, that's going to be available for you as well. So again, more details.
There's a lot of moving parts.
Yep.
Because we're not doing it at a card store. Because mainly the thing we want is you guys to be able to play in essentially what we're calling it is a giant bar fight with a trophy at the end, right?
Right.
Let's go to a bar, you're paying for the prize, but it's a big tournament, to have on a Sunday.
Right.
So we want to just get through it and have a good time. And obviously, we'll be there and, doing it live. And
yep. And that's our goal, is to commentate over it. And if you can't make it, to live stream, because I think where the power that we have, or kind of what we are wanting to accomplish, is again, me learning a format and asking okay, why did they play that? Why did they play Chalice on one? Well, it's a Delver deck, so blah, 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 blah.
So I think that is what we have to do. Did you figure out your sideboard mapping for ACAST?
I didn't build the map yet, no, because I figured we were going to do it on the way.
Yeah. I would like
was just crazy.
I would like to build your sideboard map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have, thousands of cards with us, so we can remove, all that fun stuff.
I only need 15. I only need 15 of them.
Yeah. And I think my sideboard's pretty good, especially with the spice that I'm playing. 76 East, correct. Towards Youngstown. So we might be able to. I'm just wondering if I'd be able to pull that up on screen if I did want to do the sideboard. If we wanted to live stream it on the way out.
What?
The sideboard stuff
for Acast?
Yeah.
Well, here's my okay. So Acast. So TJ's playing Acast, but he's playing Painter Servant.
Yeah.
With Acast. And I think personally that makes his deck very very difficult to deal with, because a lot of the removal spells in Legacy are 1 mana, right? So a lot of ways that Delver would have to kill that are Chalice out of the game, right? Painter Servant's 2 mana, and you can get Grindstone off of Urza Saga. So you can literally play the whole thing out, and the only card that they have to really interact with is Painter Servant. So I really personally like the Painter Servant thing, because everybody's playing Patchwork, which you're playing Patchwork as well.
Oh yeah, Patchwork Automaton.
Yeah, so you can just Patchwork, bobble Emery, go. You can do that, because sometimes that's just good enough, right?
Right. And that's what's interesting. I feel where the deck's at right now, it's not hyper focused on one strategy, but I feel any of those strategies are very viable. Beating them with bodies.
But I think the most important thing that we found was your density of artifacts.
Yes.
You have to play a minimum number of artifacts in that deck.
Mm-hmm.
Force of Will's fine. You either have it or you don't, right? But it's also nice if you draw multiple Emerys. You just have a force pitchable card. Unless you replay the Emery to get a bigger graveyard. So I definitely think that I think that 8-cast is good, but I also think that just Painter Servant Grindstone and Grindstones is equally as good. Because in theory you can do that as fast as turn 2?
Yeah. If everything lines up. And then I guess 3 with if you're using the Saga to go find it.
Right. But you're playing 4 Painter Servants. 2.
I'm drawing 2. I have 4 with me though, so there still might be some brewing that happens today. Because full disclosure, it's the way it was 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So
hear me out. What if you cast Chalice on 0 against the mirror match?
Mm-hmm.
You're now incredibly favored to win that game.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And that's why I need to look
even if they
have
Patchwork.
Because I think I'm only running 2 Chalice main board.
We have to look here at your list, because there's a couple of things that I noticed that I think you should absolutely play, and one of them is Hull Breacher.
Yeah.
Hull Breacher is...
I just want to look at the density of blue also.
Yeah.
Versus mana base. Because I'm really only getting blue off of the Lotus,
Opal.
Opal and the 4 artifact lands. I might be running 1 basic island. And
2 basics. Otawara. And then like Lotus Petals and Opals, which you can replay those.
So I don't know. I guess that's just that blue, that density of blue. I was gonna say, did I text you my list or no? I think I put it in the Discord for what I'm playing right now. As much as I want to play mono white servant, Painter Servant. I was also thinking about different ways to take the deck as far as splashing color. As far as like, if I did splash white, like, or black, Ravenfall. Is that one mine or is that meta?
No. This is...
I gotta pick up some clown cards to playtest too.
Get out of here with your clown cards. You're not playing that card.
I mean, it's not a bad card. Don't hate.
I mean... I don't hate this, but I don't know, man. I think 8-cast is so fun, and it can just, like, randomly be so good. Like, here's my thought process, right? I think you want to play Chalice, and you want to play as many cards that play around Chalice as you possibly can. Like, I think you want 3 Chalice of the Voids in your main deck. And I think, like, turn 1, you just want to go Chalice 1. Go. Or Patchwork. Like, Patchwork, Automaton, having Ward. Like,
well, all creatures pretty much in the deck have Ward. I mean, other than servants, but like almost all of them.
Emery does not.
Emery does it. True. But the main ones, 6 or 7?
Yeah. Kappa.
Kappa definitely does. I'm saying if there's a Huntington at this exit, I think there is. We gotta get money to buy cards. So we're going to take a pause from the stream really quick, stretch our legs, and we will be back here very soon to continue our discussion about 8-cast, about the weekend, really just preparing for Eternal Weekend. At the end of the day, we're preparing for the big one, Eternal Weekend coming up in December. So we'll talk to you in a few minutes.